White smoke rose into the Roman sky, curling like a whisper from heaven. St. Peter's bells rang out, shaking the cobblestones beneath pilgrims' feet. The world held its breath. Then came the name, Leo XIV. Unexpected, unifying. A name not heard for over a century, now spoken anew. In an age of division, the Church looked to a man shaped in silence, service, and sacrifice. Not chosen for power, but for purpose. His story would now speak to the soul of the world. Before he was Pope Leo XIV, he was Robert Francis Prevost, born in Chicago on September 14, 1955. The son of devout Catholic parents, he grew up in a home where prayer was as common as bread. In the rhythms of ordinary life, school, mass, quiet service, his vocation was being shaped. He studied mathematics at Villanova, a discipline of precision and clarity, but his heart leaned toward eternity. The call to priesthood stirred deeply. He entered the Catholic Theological Union and later journeyed to Rome, where he earned a doctorate in canon law. But his learning was never for status, it was preparation for surrender. Even as doors opened in the academic world, Robert felt the Spirit drawing him toward the margins, to the mission field, to the poor, to the places where Christ walked unnoticed. It was not fame he pursued, but faithfulness. And that pursuit would take him far from home, into the heat and dust of Peru. In the rugged lands of northern Peru, Robert Prevost found what he was searching for, not comfort, but calling. Among the people of the Diocese of Chiclayo, he walked as both priest and brother. He learned their language, carried their burdens, and preached not only with words, but with presence. His ministry was marked by compassion and courage, standing with the poor, defending the dignity of the forgotten. Over time, his wisdom and humility drew notice, not for ambition's sake, but for trust. In 2001, he was elected Prior General of the Augustinian Order, guiding its global mission for over a decade. From dusty villages to Vatican corridors, he remained the same. Calm, listening, anchored in Christ. Whether meeting with bishops or walking among orphans, he never lost the heart of a missionary. His authority did not shout, it served. And in the silent places of the world, the Church was being renewed through him. Though he never sought high office came seeking him. His years of faithful service in Peru and his leadership of the Augustinians had not gone unnoticed. In 2020, he was called back to Rome, and in 2023, Pope Francis entrusted him with a task of profound consequence, prefect of the dicastery for bishops. It was a role requiring discernment, wisdom, and deep spiritual grounding. Robert Prevost brought all three. As cardinal, he was seen as a man who listened before he spoke, who prayed before he acted. His vision was not to reshape the Church with force, but to shepherd it with grace. He moved through Vatican halls with the same spirit he carried through Peruvian villages, quiet strength, open hands, eyes lifted toward heaven. In a world tempted by extremes, he remained centered. In a church longing for unity, he became a bridge. And so, without seeking a throne, he was prepared for one. When Pope Francis passed into glory, the world mourned, and the cardinals gathered. The Sistine Chapel held its breath as prayers rose like incense. Behind closed doors, ballots were cast. Not for power, but for guidance. On the second day, a name emerged again and again, Prevost. Some saw a scholar, others a pastor, but all saw a man unshaken by status, rooted in the gospel. When he accepted, he did so not with triumph, but with trembling. He chose the name Leo, echoing a legacy of strength, reform, and renewal. A name not heard for over a century, now spoken with hope. As he stepped onto the balcony, sunlight caught his white vestments, and a hush fell upon the square. He lifted his eyes, not to the crowds, but to the heavens. In that moment, history turned. A missionary had become a pope, and the church prepared to walk a new road under an old and noble name. From the first words of his papacy, Leo XIV spoke not of institutions, but of mercy. "Never again war," he said, his voice steady over the crowds. His heart turned quickly to the suffering, to Ukraine, to Gaza, to forgotten corners of the world where the church still whispers hope. He met with journalists and called for the release of the imprisoned. He challenged the media to speak truth with courage, not fear. He called bishops to be shepherds, not managers, and the people listened. Because he spoke not as a ruler, but as one who had walked beside the wounded. His vision was not grand strategy, it was the gospel, lived with sincerity and strength. He preached unity, but not at the cost of truth. He offered peace, but not without justice. His papacy was shaped not by revolution, but by restoration, a church rooted in Christ, reaching outward with compassion. In Leo XIV, the world saw a pastor before it saw a pope. He came from the streets of Chicago, walked the hills of Peru, and now stands at the heart of Rome. But Pope Leo XIV is still the same man, servant, missionary, shepherd. His reign begins not with fanfare, but with faith. In a divided world, he lifts up Christ. In a weary church, he rekindles hope. His voice now echoes through history, not to be remembered for its volume, but for its truth. A new chapter begins, not in power, but in grace.